I'm so excited for today's show. Make sure that you share this across the interwebs because we've got the amazing guys from Dealcasters here. And if you guys are wanting to know all about Amazon Live, well, this is the show for you. These guys are amazing. They helped me get started. And I mean, if they can help me, they can help you. So make sure that you subscribe to all their channels we'll be talking about today. Go over there. We are actually going to be streaming, as I hit the button, on Amazon Live, so you guys can go over there and see what it's like. If you've never been over there and seeing a live streaming show, make sure you guys go over there. We've got some of our friends already showing up today. We have Brian from, and see, I told you were Miss Grace. He says, welcome back, Grace.
Oh.
She wasn't going to go on today, Brian, because she's like, there's be too many people. I don't want to. I was like, Grace, I'll get in trouble because people think that I kicked you out or something. So,
I told you to replace me with a wooden gnome, which is
I don't have my gnome around here. Yes, so
still your best, your most popular, most sought after co-host.
I am very wooden as well, so don't worry about it. So anyway, guys, like I said, if you're just joining us, make sure you share this out. Grace, how have you been? You've been gone so long. How's Dallas?
Dallas is good. I'm exactly like 2 meters away from you in Longview over there.
No, it's anyway. And Jim and Chris. Jim, you are from Atlanta. Chris, you are from Detroit. Is that what I heard? Is that where you're at?
Originally from Detroit, but I'm also now and have been living in Atlanta since 1999.
Okay. Are you guys going to carpool together down to VidFest?
Here we are. I think so, or we might convoy. We'll
convoy.
Yeah, we've got
Are you guys driving?
Are you
driving?
Yes.
Yes.
I am too. I enjoy the drive. It's 2 days, but I like it. There's a little route that I take. So I'm so excited. VidFest, guys, if you guys haven't heard about that, just go check out VidFest because there's a whole Amazon Live Day, which has never been done before. The Dealcasters are putting it on. I have a little bit a part of it, and I am so excited because I learn every time I'm with these guys, I learn something. We've got, once again, Gary Stockton. He goes, good morning, you wonderful folks from Huntington Beach, California. Gary, I hope you're doing well. I've been following you on Instagram, so looks like you're having a good time. Got your 4th shot. I need to go get mine. They won't let me get it because I'm right under 50. I don't turn 50 till July, so anyway. That's neither here nor there. I know.
Send you an
By the way,
birthday
presents are welcome. You can just send them to jeffc.com. Anyway, so I'm going to hit go on the podcast machine, and we will get started because I want to make sure you guys ask as many questions as possible. I want to pull up as many questions as you guys have about Amazon Live because these are the folks that can answer them for you. They are super knowledgeable, and they are amazing. So I'm going to hit go on the podcast machine, and we will get started. Hello, folks. Welcome to Social Media News Live. I'm Jeff C., and you're not.
And I'm Grace Duffy, and this is the show that keeps you up to date on what's happening in the world of social media and more. Last week we had on, Jeff had on the amazing Stephanie Liu. She and Jeff talked about launching your own live shopping show from a producer's point of view. And today we have part 2 of live shopping. We're interviewing 2 live streaming Amazon influencers who are on the other side of the camera interviewing experts and entrepreneurs.
Yeah, in today's show, we are talking with my friend Jim Fuse and Chris Stone of Dealcasters, all about the biggest opportunity for creators to grow and influence and generate considerable revenue with live selling on Amazon Live. So we're going to be digging into why we need to be Amazon influencers specifically and how to get started. We're going to be talking about navigating brand deals as well as building your own brand with Amazon Live. And we're also going to talk to them about their Amazon Live Day coming up on VidFest at the end of this month at the Expo in Orlando. So stick around for that. So if you do not know Chris Stone and Jim Fuse, well, you're going to today because Chris Stone, he is the president of Cast Ahead with 25 plus years history in the music industry with Sony and the success of his co-hosted podcast, changing his life, and it's helped him become a driven and passionate entrepreneur. He has founded the podcast and live streaming consultancy, Cast Ahead. He's also produced videos for keynote speakers like Victor Antonio and Sam Silverstein, remote produced virtual live conferences for corporations, and consulted and developed and produced hundreds of podcast episodes. Now, Jim is the president of Fusion Marketing and does marketing the Marine Corps way. He is a retired Marine Corps lieutenant colonel turned digital marketing consultant, speaker, live streamer, podcaster, remote live stream, and virtual event producer with over 30 years of business and social media experience. He uses his Marine Corps leadership with next level digital marketing and has 20 plus years of highly successful leadership experience as a Marine Corps officer. And he brings that to bear in his ever-changing world of marketing, because we all know it's an ever-changing world of marketing, folks. And he and Jim together co-host and produce the regular Amazon Live show Dealcasters Live. They also collaborate as remote live producers and have led, assisted, coordinated production teams with clients such as IBM, United Nations Global Compact, MIT, Toastmasters International, GlaxoSmithKline, Jamaican Chamber of Commerce, U.S. Biz Party, which has included speakers as Gary Vaynerchuk, Seth Godin, and many more. So, oh my gosh, that was the longest intro ever. But you guys have done so much. So, I was talking to Grace, and I thought, I don't know if we've ever, I even know the answer to this question, but how did the two of you start working together? Chris, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, so it comes down to networking. And I think one of the most underrated components of podcasting, of live streaming, is the ability to network with people. I would not have met Jeff C. if it wasn't for meeting him at the last PodFest when everybody was in real life. But over the course of those 2 years, I got to know Jeff C. and Grace Duffy and all of these great people that we see in the chat, Junaid Ahmed, Billy Thorpe, all of these people. And so that networking aspect of live video and podcasting is just, I consider one of the most underrated things that there is. And so Jim and I met at a podcast Atlanta meetup. And, I was working on more audio podcasting, some video. Jim was working on a lot more video, a lot more remote production. And so we met there, became fast friends, and eventually knew at some point we wanted to do something together. And so we were thinking about, well, we're similar businesses but different voices, and we treated we didn't treat each other as competitors. And so when Jim gave me a call one day and said, Chris, we have our show, we're Amazon influencers, I gave him that look like a dog gives when he hears a funny noise. But the light bulbs went off, and we said, this is a way for us to do what we do in our own businesses on, one of the biggest malls of the world. And we don't have to have that same conversation with different clients. Like, here's the mic I think you should use. Here's the lighting you should use. Here's this. Here's my affiliate link. And we hope and pray we get your 13 cents from, the thing that you bought. All of those things were just taking too much time. And we said, we can do a show and just cover that. And then we have this content to work with that we can just sort of repurpose and deliver value to those clients.
Very, very cool. So, Jim, I'll let you, is that true? Because you can refute anything he just said. So is that really what happened?
It is true. And the funny thing is, though, the fact that Chris will still talk to me, because when we met in person, I said, you remind me of Max Headroom.
Oh,
and
I cannot see it. Not see that.
There's a blast from the past. It's because of the Sony connection, right? Wasn't he?
He did that,
He was.
right? And that was his thing. He was glitchy. He did that. Max Headroom.
Were you calling him glitchy, Jim?
No, not at all.
Just the hair.
But we're about the same age, young guys in our 30s, and so we have a lot in common. So we like sports, we like music, and so it's really just been a lot of fun.
That's cool. I mean, it's really interesting when we're talking about this, because and Chris mentioned this, is the collaboration that happened with live video. I mean, that's what when you're in your local economy, a lot of people don't know what you do as a marketer, especially a digital marketer. They're like, what? You play on Facebook all day? And then with live video, being able to connect with each other, there's nothing like it that allows you to, I'm sure it's the same with you guys, like my friends like Ian Anderson Gray, who's going to be at VidFest and PodFest in Atlanta. It's just like, because we talk all the time and we do live shows together, it's just like continuing the conversation. There's something about live video that it's, you're face-to-face, you're talking. And Grace and I, we never see each other. And she's in Dallas, I'm in Longview, which is only 2 hours away. But when we come together, it's just like normal. It's just like nothing. It's just like continuing the conversation. So I think your point about collaboration is huge. And you've brought your entire, I think, fan club with you. So a lot of people here So, and Gary's always looking after me. He says my autofocus needs to be fixed. I wave my arms around too much, Gary. There we go. It should be fixed now, or it's hitting my microphone. So thanks, Gary, for looking out for me. All right. So, by the way, I wanted to give us a shout out to our sponsors, Ecamm. They are amazing. They are what makes the show possible. They help sponsor the show, and they have from the very, very beginning. But one of the things that they're doing right now, and we had Stephanie Liu on last week talking about live selling as well, is they have this brand new series called Showrunner 2, and you can go in there, and they're talking for like 8 weeks. Stephanie Liu is leading this, all about live selling. And so she talked about it, kind of an intro last week. She dove in a little bit deeper this week. But you can sign up, and it's all free, but you can get, on your calendar if you go to ecamm.tv/live selling. That's ecamm.tv/live selling. It is amazing. I learn stuff every time, and I've been doing this stuff since the old days of Google Plus when we had to like pour diesel fuel into our computers and crank the starter. So I've been doing it for a while. So, but go check them out, ecamm.tv/live selling. All right, Grace, let's get going. Yeah.
Yes. So today's show is all about Amazon Live Shopping, and we cannot talk about that without talking about Amazon influencers. So in a short amount of time, Amazon has risen to become a massive opportunity for creators looking to grow their influence and generate considerable revenue for themselves and for the brands that they're promoting and or representing. So we have Jim and Chris on here today because they are the expert Amazon influencers. And so we want to know about this Amazon influencer program for content creators. How can us normal, regular people get involved? And also, what do you need to do to start selling or making shoppable content on Amazon?
Chris, take it
Grace,
away.
you are far from normal. And I said this before, absolutely. And Garrett Bellany agrees with me. Seeing here on the chat, this is far and away my favorite live stream on the interwebs. And so, it's an honor for Jim and I to once again be on here with you on Social Media News Live. If you guys have not followed Social Media News Live, this is the first time you're seeing this show. Trust me, everybody go right now, follow the show on whatever tube you're watching this. You can also get it as an audio podcast and download it as well in case you miss it. But back to what I was saying is that, and to answer your question more specifically, Grace, is like what influencers and what Amazon and the Amazon influencer program have done is, I don't know how many years ago somebody just thought like in order for you to be a quote unquote influencer, you had to have 6-7 figure followers and subscribers. And after all of these companies started spending tons and tons and tons of money for these elite celebrities to talk about their product, they realized what was really selling was people who are, like Grace said, normal. And those are, so you can call them whatever you want to call them, nano, and there's all kinds of names for influencers. I can't keep up. If you have 500 subscribers, you're a nano. I don't know. But all I know is this, is that Amazon found out early on that you don't have to be a celebrity. And when they started to do these live streams on the platform almost 3 years ago, they were using celebrities, and people don't remember that. And they were massive failures. And so they said, okay, what if we just hired people that worked for Amazon that weren't necessarily big celebrities? Maybe they knew what they were doing, and let's create a show and see how it works on Prime Day. Let's see what it works on Black Friday. Let's see how that works. Massive success. And so they said, now this is what we're going to do. We're going to create this Amazon influencer program. And guess what? You don't have to have that many followers. And if you're someone that has an existing business or someone that, is a content creator, a content entrepreneur, and it isn't necessarily your full-time gig, you can use the Amazon influencer program and bolt it onto what you're doing. And it creates just a very nice amount of passive income while still, you being able to continue with whatever brand and whatever business that you have.
So what is it? So you mentioned, you don't have to have a ton of different, ton of followers, right? So what do you need, Jim, to become an Amazon influencer? Like, can you just go fill out a form and boom, you're an influencer? What are they looking for an influencer,
It's
Jim?
yeah, it's actually pretty close to that. Now they've changed it a little bit. When we got approved, I used my Twitter account, but now I don't know for whatever reason, maybe before Elon, they took Twitter away for some reason. Maybe it'll come back.
Yeah.
But you go to the Amazon. It's well, first become. We always tell people become an associate first, because then you can at least get those product links, right? You could talk, any product link you talk about, you could put in show notes on all the tubes, as Chris and I like to say. But then you just go over and it's like it's the influencer program, and all they're really going to ask is pick one of 4 platforms: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, or your Facebook business page. And what we recommend is the one that you have the highest number of followers on, because with YouTube you're going to find out right away. With the others, I'm not sure about TikTok, but I definitely with Facebook and Instagram, it could be up to 5 days. They don't tell us how many people you need, but we would probably say you want to probably be north of 2,000 followers in most cases. And if you do get disapproved, don't give up. Apply again. We've seen people that have, got it the second time around. So be persistent on that. And it's that simple, right? There's not like a bunch of 20 questions. And this is, I think, also a misconception. You don't have to be someone that live streams. We have seen people get started in the program that have never live streamed, because they'll join these Facebook groups and they'll say, how do I live stream? So it's really does not require you to be someone that has this huge history of live streaming. They're really looking at your, I think, your follower count, and probably, are you posting on the platform that you are applying with? And obviously, if you've got followers, you probably are. So that's how I would kind of describe it. I don't know if Chris wanted to add anything there.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. I think, it again goes back to, you don't have to be massive. You don't have to be Jeff C just yet. You can be Chris Stone and start at, this level, and, be able to do this. And I think one of the things that is sort of a misconception is that, Jim talked about these people that were getting approved to be on Amazon Live and never going live. And so what happens, and why Jim and I really have this thing to evangelize for this platform, is that if you've got a bunch of influencers that are going live and are creating recorded video, like product videos, which I'm happy to talk about as well, is that they don't have experience doing it. Maybe they were an Instagram person that was doing pictures, or they just don't have a lot of experience going live. And so they're going live and waiting for people to chat with them. And they're making all of the mistakes maybe we all had made years ago. Right. So if you're someone that is a live streamer, someone that knows how to make a decent product video, even if you don't qualify, you can start doing this now. And then when you do get approved, you're automatically shot to the front of the line. And it's why we evangelize, and why we were like, knock, knock, Jeff C, come on over here. Knock, knock, Kevin Colby, knock, knock, Gabe Aloisi, and say, hey, look, this is something we want to make this thing better. We don't look at any one of these content creators as competition. We don't look at Junaid Ahmed and all of our friends here in the chat as competition. We look at them as like, hey, let's make each other better. Let's lift all the ships here. Let's make this thrive. Because I don't know if you remember, YouTube in the early days was hot garbage. You would look at it and everyone was like, go YouTube. It's, and I go and why am I here? But we all wished before there were now 40 million YouTube channels that we had created a YouTube channel and figured out how to do it really well.
Right. So I want to bring up a point here from our friend Gary Stockton, who's watching over on YouTube. He goes, I watched a guy last week talking about digital audio recorders, and he held my attention for quite a while. It's interesting to look at specific niche of products if you have expertise. So on this note, because I know you guys talk about this, and for me, I mean, we do this show over on Amazon Live, but I also have been doing carving shows over there. And that's the thing. What I love about Amazon Live is everyone says, the riches are in the niches. You don't have to be in a niche. I was even worried. I messaged Jim going, hey, can I do my carving show over there? Because it is so, the opposite of what I do normally. Is that going to screw up anything? It's like, no, do it. And so talk about that a little bit, Jim, about the ability to not have to niche down and be like, oh, I'm just going to be a Pinterest guy, or I'm just going to be talking about tech, or I'm just going to talk about lighting. So talk about the opportunities that maybe a lot of people don't think about over on Amazon Live.
Yeah, so I helped, and she's going to be one of our speakers. Denise Lipka is this lady who does art classes for kids, and she contacted me. She had this huge Facebook following. I said you should apply, and she got approved. And so she does art classes on the channel. The stuff is in her carousel. Geraldine Wilkins, who's a quilter, right? A quilter. She does the same thing, and I think she's maybe actually, and Chris would know this too. I think she's actually started a second show, kind of like you have, where she talks about tech because she's a really, really good with Ecamm. As a matter of fact, shout out to Ecamm on that. But Bradley Vincent, same thing, teaching people how to do graphics and having the stuff he uses in the carousel. Because here's something you may not realize: a lot of the software products we use are available on Amazon. Photoshop is available on Amazon. Not to say that you're going to buy it there, but kind of like, and I love your wood carving show. We had missed it for a long time, right? Because a lot of those things you're using, you can buy on Amazon. So if somebody gets the idea, like, you can be teaching people how to do things on Amazon. There's cooking shows. I mean, there's people doing fitness. So this whole idea of it's got to be a certain way. And even some, like Chris and I kind of do two different things, right? When it's just me and Chris, we dive a lot deeper into, technology and how to podcast. Or like last week we had fun and did a May the 4th episode.
Yeah,
and,
that was fun. I watched
broke
that.
out a bunch of Star Wars stuff. But then next week, we're going to interview David Meerman Scott about his new book. And so there's some opportunities there because, and I think you know this, Jeff, if Jim Fuse and Chris Stone were doing a show outside of Amazon and we were to go ask somebody, hey, would you like to be on our show to talk about your book? They'd probably be like, well, how many followers you? But you say, would you like to be interviewed on Amazon? They're
Right.
like, what?
Yeah.
And so that's a whole different dynamic. And so I think that, and here's the other thing, right, about being on Amazon versus, say, YouTube. And we're on YouTube, so don't get me wrong, but people are looking for solutions to their problem on YouTube. They're ready to buy on Amazon.
Oh, that's such a good point. I think that people forget, and I was talking to somebody else the other day, it's like, you don't have, we're trying to get them in the funnel on everything else. We're always like, okay, sign up for my free ebook, and then you lead them down a path that hopefully they'll buy your course and all this stuff. They're already at Amazon. They're at the mall. They're ready. They got their wallet with them. They're looking at, oh, you know what? I really need to get a new vacuum, and they're there and they're just looking to see which the best vacuum to buy. And so there's already that purchase intent. Go ahead.
I'd love to dovetail on that, and that is, Jeff, you and I have been doing podcasts for a number of years, and that's one of the big rules is your avatar, right? Although every time I say avatar, I think that like
Blue
movie
people?
with
Yeah.
the blue people,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So if you already have a podcast and you already have an existing brand, you already know who you're talking to, right? And you're probably creating content to solve their problems, right? And so that's why Jim and I, we're a bit of an anomaly in that we created the show on the platform itself, and then the other stuff followed. That's when we created all the socials, and that's why we don't have a ton of YouTube subscribers. It's just not a focus for us. We try to do what we can do, but we know that's a longer game for us. We're not going to ignore it, and we're going to try to do what we can do off of the rented land. But when you go live on Amazon, I think some people think they have to completely change everything that they do. I mean, this show right now is on Amazon Live. And if you look and you say, oh, well, look at this thing behind Chris, that thing's kind of cool. I wonder what it's about. Maybe you hit me up in the chat and say, where did you get that? Well, I actually did buy it on Amazon. There's a canvas company that creates these things. And then I put soundproof insulation in it, and it becomes like functional for my studio. Something like that is like, you're still doing your show. We're doing a show. We're doing a podcast. And yet we can incorporate products into the mix because that's who our audience is. That's who want to hear what we're saying. And guess what? If they're seeing it on Amazon, all they got to do is hit a click and they buy it. And at no extra cost to you, we'll get a little commission off of it. And why wouldn't you want to do it? If you're watching a Jeff C. wood carving show and you're interested in wood carving, that is a niche, absolutely. And you're going to get a ton of people, and those people are going to love what you're doing, and it's going to create more attention for your business off of that platform as well.
Right. Very, very cool. I love it.
So we have a question from our friend Gary here. He says, you don't have to buy a product. You don't have to buy a product to talk about on Amazon, right? You can maybe have one item to show off and then add accessories. Am I right? So to paraphrase, like, you don't have to actually buy the product to talk about it. You can talk about it or do you have to have the physical product if you're talking about a physical product?
So
Great
they've
question.
changed the rules a little bit. And what they want to do is, as an insider at least, you have to have 75% of the things you're talking about. So if I
Okay.
had, as an example, the Rodecaster Pro on hand, I could do that. But then maybe some of the things you could add to it, I don't have to have. But another way, if you want to say, and I'm not saying it's around it, you can use B-roll, because obviously sometimes the things you might want to talk about, like I'm using my Focusrite, it's kind of hard for me to show it on camera
Right.
unless I have a camera angle. So I might show a B-roll of that. So that's another way to kind of meet that, if you want to call it, requirement. But I think it also, what Chris and I have seen, and you may have seen this as well, Jeff, if you're seeing good content, Amazon's not going to like strike you down. There have been that have had a problem, and I think sometimes it's like, don't stuff your carousel with all the top selling products because you think that's going to get you more viewers because your video is playing on that product page. Stick with the stuff that you know that you're talking about. I mean, if you have an author on, right, you might have the book that he just released, but maybe you have all his books in the carousel as an example.
Right.
So that there is a little bit of leeway, but we believe in being, rather safe than sorry, because would hate to lose this opportunity because, you're trying to, if you want to I wouldn't call it gaming the system, but just, using common sense.
Yeah. So for
Well,
my,
let's talk about like
Okay.
if you have a cooking show and you have an electric pepper grinder and you've had this and it's been passed down in your family for generations, right? But you're cooking with it, can you put a different electric pepper grinder in your carousel, or does it have to be the exact one, or does it matter? Because sometimes I'll be watching like a kitchen tutorial and I'm like, oh, I really want that type of product. I don't need that necessarily that same one. Do you get penalized for something like that, or would you have to have the exact lemon squeezer or pepper grinder, whatever it is that
No,
you're
I
using?
think that's fine. I think it's fine to have, this is something similar that is doing the same thing. Now, what I would say, if you're going to put another product in there other than the one you're using, this at least mine and Chris's belief, and this kind of goes into some of the other questions I know you have, you better believe in the product because that's your reputation.
Mhm.
So don't put some cheap product in there just because it does the same thing, and then later you find out people are, 2 and 3 starring this product, and you're like, wow, and I put that in my carousel. So
or even returning
that's
it
where
because you get
yeah,
it. You make a sale,
you
it'll
get
come
hit
back
on
and
returns.
yeah,
That's
you
right.
get
Oh
dinged for
dear.
those. So you want to
Yeah,
make sure.
I don't think they're getting that granular with the have 75% on hand stuff if you're sort of at the insider level as you go for that. I think it's a general rule to be put out there for people like Jim was saying are gaming the system, because that's what we were seeing is like, oh, I'm just going to pick all of the top sellers, put them on my carousel. It doesn't even matter if I'm talking about something for wood carving. I'm hitting this fan that's the number one seller and trying to drive all of
Mhm.
that traffic over. And nobody wants that. We don't want that. I don't want
Right.
somebody that's shopping for a fan to come to our show when we don't have a fan to talk about. And so I don't know why anybody would do that. And there was sort of a gaming of the system. But I think if you're doing a show, to your point, Grace, where it's a cooking show and you have something that may not be sold on Amazon, but it is similar and something that and it's a brand that you trust, and most of
Yeah.
the stuff generally you have on hand, you're the expert. It's almost like if you were walking around Costco or a big box store, and there's Grace Duffy standing there cooking something, right? And you're sitting there, and everyone's like, "Oh man, this is delicious. This is really cool. How are you doing this?" And you're like, "Well, this has been in my family for years, but this is generally the same thing, and this is from brand such and such." You're the expert, and so and you're helping people make a great purchase decision. So I don't think it's really like, oh, here's Gray Stuffy stream. She was at 72% of products on hand. Strike. It's not.
Right.
That's not been our experience.
So
Well, let's be
one of the
honest about
one
my
of,
life. It would be a Costco, and I'd be demonstrating how to cook sausages. Let's just be
well,
honest about my life.
let's have a disclaimer.
Costco's coming.
Yeah, let's do a disclaimer. Please don't go to Costco and start cooking, because they probably would frown on that unless you're an employee. So
Right.
Don't
right.
tell me what to
That's
do.
You can go to Whole Foods.
Don't-
You
that's-
can go to Whole Foods. They're in
You
my
could go to
Amazon,
Whole
so.
Foods. You can
But-
stand outside of a Whole Foods and do that. So,
But one of the things about
the
the carousel I wanted to talk about, because like for me, I have everything that I have on my desk listed because I'm using it. And if somebody says, "Hey, talk about it," I can pick it up and show them. That's just kind of my rule. I mean, I'm not like using my Logitech camera, but I've got it right there because I use it for product shots. And so I can show that if I needed to. So I think just be smart about it. The other thing, and I can't remember if it was Chris or Jim who told me this, is if you're a podcaster and you're on Amazon Music, you can have your podcast as a carousel item, which is really cool because that's how I get subscribers over on Amazon Music, which is great for podcasters. We want that. So that's another thing that I think a lot of people don't realize as well. So that's a really, really cool tip. And Gary says this, he goes, the thing I like about it is the audience is there for the product, so it's not like you need to promote your session. Am I right? So, yeah, I mean, they're discovering you kind of just randomly on the live stream page. Wouldn't you say that's where most people find you?
I think we treat it a little differently. Yes, most of your audience, like you get to the end and you'll go, holy crap, that was a lot of viewers. And so obviously, if you don't have really that many people before you got on Amazon, those people did come over because you were talking about particular products and your video was on the page and drove them over. So those might be views that are sort of thumb by views. But when we do our show, we do redirects. So like Jeff's show when he was on our show, if you go to jeffc.dealcasters.live, it's going to take you straight to his show. And because Amazon gives you this long hieroglyphics URL, and we were like, this is not going to work. So, our show's Dealcasters Live on Amazon. So we're going to buy .live. We're going to buy Dealcasters.live. And every time we do a show, this is free to do, by the way. So if you, not to buy a particular domain, buying a domain was like a cup of coffee.
Right.
But once you have that domain, you can create subdomains. So if your show is jeffc.live, you can create a show that is dealcasters.jeffc.live that takes you right to a show. You just go in and say, this is the Amazon link I want you to send to. And so our intention on that is to drive views over to Amazon from the other places. So we do get I don't want to say considerable, but there's a good chunk of commission revenue and also views that come from offsite. And that's because every time we do a podcast, every time you see all of the social media, all of the repurposing that we do from the show, driving people back to each one of these shows or our shop page or whatever, when you send someone from offsite into Amazon, you get a higher commission rate because, of course, Amazon loves that you sent somebody there. And so that's really sort of the driving force. But, Gary, to answer your question more specifically, yes, more views, percentage-wise, definitely come from inherently being on the platform, your video being on the shop page for that particular product, somebody going, oh, wow, that bearded dude carving wood looks like he knows what he's talking about. Click, I'm going to watch his show. Click, I'm going to buy.
Yeah, I know what I'm talking about. Carving.
Yeah, and I wanted to
fingers.
add one thing too, that it's not necessarily working, I think, the way we'd like to see it as influencers, but there's the whole follow thing, right? So if you follow Jeff C, which if you're on Amazon, go down there, or depending on which device you are, hit the follow button. You're supposedly going to start getting notified when Jeff goes live. And there's even that whole live stream page that you can see on the web, on at least on the computer and iPad, where it'll show you upcoming shows. You can get reminders, I believe. So they are working to make there more of a visibility. So, as an example, if you have your fans that like to watch your show, that's how they're going to find out about it. So that is something that they would like you to have people come to your show that are there for it. And you will catch some from the, if you want to call it the drive-bys that are at the mall, coming by your kiosk. But But yeah, so followers is definitely something that Amazon wants all of us to do. And so it's interesting because you have all these followers on the other platforms, but people don't realize, like, you mean following people on Amazon is a thing? And so that, I think, has been
Yeah.
a challenge, because we know people have thousands and thousands of, like, say, YouTube followers or whatever else. They can't get them to come over to Amazon and follow them there.
So really quick, I wanted to ask you, Jim, like why my camera's not moving. There it is. Is that, you know, one of the things with Amazon Live is, can you take your Amazon stream and embed it on your website? I mean, is that something you can do? Like, you know, like on Facebook, I can take my Facebook video and embed it on like a blog page or something. Could you do the same thing with an Amazon video to help with traffic?
Yeah, I don't see why you couldn't. I mean,
Okay.
as long as you're able to get it to do that, I would. The one thing I would remind people to do is make sure that that site is on your Amazon Associates account. Like, here's the stuff where I'm
Mhm.
posting traffic, and the whole FTC thing of making people realize that, hey, that I make commissions off of this
Oh yeah,
site.
important.
But I think as long as you've done that, I don't see any problem in doing that.
So
I honestly I wouldn't.
okay.
And here's why. It's not number one. Like Jim brings up a great point. I think anytime you're talking about FTC stuff, you always need to tread very lightly. If you're doing anything on your own website and you're driving traffic to Amazon, you gotta make people aware that they're going there. And as an Amazon influencer, you are sort of covered. When they arrive, they're like, this influencer makes money from the program. They're an influencer. But it's delicate, and the goalposts move, and there's not a lot of communication as far as when those goalposts move. So I would be delicate. And the other thing too is, like, even though you can basically RTMP to any website that you've got, which is what you would have to do, I think,
Right.
with an Amazon Live broadcast, you still are not going to be able to. The people that are on that site are not going to be able to chat with you. There's no
Right.
product carousel, and really the entire intention is to get them over on Amazon, which is why we
Okay. That's a good
have all
point.
the redirects.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
By the way, you mentioned doing the .live as a redirect, and so I did this exact same thing. So if you go to jeffc.live, it takes you to my Amazon page, and that's
Boom.
SIEH, I before E, especially in C. So you guys, jeffc.live, if you want to look at that. The amazing Stephanie Lewis here. So guys, be on your best behavior, because she will, shout us down if
We're being
bad.
judged.
So let's talk about this engagement on Amazon. How to be engagement and get those people to follow you and stuff. Yeah. And I watched your May the 4th show. One, because I'm just a nerd, and two, I needed some new Star Wars Legos. But one of the things you guys did, which I thought was very, very cool, and I hadn't, maybe a lot of people, I know people do giveaways over there all the time, but you were doing a thing like follow us, and if you follow us before, click on it so we get a notification. You're going to be entered in this wheel of fun or whatever, a wheel of prizes. I thought that was genius. One, to get followers, and two, it made it interactive, and people would stay on for your stream for a long time for the hope of winning, the way you guys did it. I mean, I know it's a hard thing to do live, is entering people's names and all that kind of stuff. But can you talk about some ways and tactics that you drive engagement on your Amazon streams? Because I think that's important, and a lot of people overlook that. We'll start with you, Chris.
Yeah. So, well, first and foremost, I think a lot of people, when they go live on most every platform, like Amazon, and really, there's going to be lots of other live selling platforms that are coming. There's ones that are already live. They just don't have a program yet, like Amazon does. And there's, you got supply chain and shipping and all of those stuff that it's going to get figured out. So get ready. If you're a content creator, you're probably live. You're probably already selling. You don't even know it. And so why not get that commission for that? But when you create a show on Amazon, in order for you to be live and engaging, first and foremost, like, how everyone does those intro videos, right? We're going live in 5 minutes, right? And then there's a countdown, and maybe you have a graphic. Maybe that person's just kind of sitting there or whatever. Jim and I, our intention in the show and the whole run of show, to keep things moving, to keep people engaging, it kind of goes back to what we said, Grace and Jeff, earlier, is who's your audience? Who is there? And so don't waste their time, right? So if we go live and we are talking about a particular product first, in terms of run of show, and we're highlighting that product, we have to think there are lots of people on that product page that will see our show, and they'll come over. And if they come over to our show and we're talking about, what we did that day or something like that, they're going to be like, I'm not interested. I came over here because I wanted to learn about the product. So that's kind of why Amazon's policing some of this stuff. So you have to be sort of ready to go right out of the gate. Let's not worry about the sponsors. Let's get people's attention. That's the other thing when we want something engaging. That's why it was just so fun to create this show, and why it's still fun for me is because it's a fantastic sandbox for me as a video editor and as a content creator for me to be in, to be able to create some pattern interrupts, to be able to create some scenes in Ecamm or whatever, to create this big circle in the middle of the screen that says unmute. See, I'm doing this right now, Jeff, so everyone's unmuting on your show on Amazon, right?
Do it. Yeah.
Exactly. And then when you're creating this prize wheel, like we had, for May the 4th, and those are the kinds of things that, and I know there's some questions here in the chat about followers, and I'll sort of let Jim take that in terms of engagement, but this is the other way that a lot of content creators have achieved success in terms of gaining followers. Is we all know you're going to go on Amazon, you're kind of looking for some deals, right? You're kind of looking for maybe some freebies. You're kind of looking for some prizes. And Jim and I get approached by a number of brands, and they're happy to give us some products that would be considered giveaways for something, and we're highlighting that product throughout the show, and that's really sort of the impetus of doing, what did you call it, the Wheel of Death? We don't even really have a name for it. So
the Wheel of
Prizes,
Fun,
right?
The Wheel of Wonder.
That's right.
Exactly.
So about that. So it's funny about, you talked about pattern interrupting a little bit. Now, you may not know this, but when I started and designed Social Media News Live show, I looked at your show a lot. And that's why I have, like, when I go to and I have these things on the side, they're kind of cheesy. And, if I was designing this for different, a different platform, I probably wouldn't have them. But it's that pattern interrupt. And I use you guys' show as like, okay, that caught my attention. Why did it catch my attention? Oh, okay. And try to do some of those same kind of things. Jim, do you have anything else that you would say for best practices for, like, engagement when you're actually doing a show on Amazon Live?
Yeah. Now Chris didn't get a chance to show it, but we also have another scene that we created when it's just Chris and I called Chatalicious, and we'll actually bring up the Amazon chat on screen, and so we can actually see the comments, and we feel like that's another way where the viewer's like, wow, people can actually see what I'm saying, right? Because that's going to be in the recording, and then the first thing we'll do is we're always putting comments ourselves in the chat, like. Hey guys, how's everybody doing? And if somebody, even if we're not talking about somebody, because maybe we're interviewing an author or something, and that's kind of our podcast session, we'll still say in the chat, like, hey Jeff, great to see you, glad you could join us. So we definitely, will be there in the chat, talking with the viewers that show up. And then of course too, like if somebody asks a question, like if Stephanie Lou said, hey, what's that microphone you're using? Or if they ask about another microphone, it's like, okay, Stephanie, we're going to get to that in a second. And then we'll even sometimes add the solution to their problem into the carousel during the show. It's like, hey, okay, we've just put that in the carousel so you can see it. And, so that's part of how we engage with our audience. So, because we'll have people sometimes, I won't say it comes out of left field, but like we've had a couple times like, oh, I need a monitor, right? We didn't have any monitors in, but we'll go look for it. So we're definitely there to help those people. Cause you got to remember, the show isn't about us. The show is about the customers, and we're here to serve those customers in the solution that we hope our show provides. Like if it's a book, hey, this is a great book that's going to help you accomplish some sort of goal, like with David Meerman Scott, it's going to be about, the new rules of PR and social media. We've got Stu Heineke coming on at the beginning of June when he launches his new book about, how weeds, it's kind of the taking the concept of weeds and how you can grow your business. And so that's really how we get the engagement. And then the other thing is too, kind of going back to Gary's comment, we definitely push this stuff out on all our socials beforehand, and then after, as you know, and I know we may get into this. Chris does the bulk of the repurposing. I know I probably have to start paying him more for that, but we take all these videos and we cut them up. But to Chris's point, we were shocked when we looked the other day at the amount of offsite traffic we're getting, and we know that that's a direct result of our efforts on social.
That's really cool. So, can you talk to the because I want to give a shout out to one of our comments over on Amazon, Randall Constant, who you know, Randall. He says, "Hello, Grace. Hello, Jeff. Hello, Chris. Hello, Jim." Can you, for all that's good and holy, can you please tell Amazon to figure out a way we can bring up, things on screen, comments on screen? I mean, that would make it so more interactive. I mean, that's all I want, Amazon. Please.
Right?
So
I
Jeff,
agree.
if you solo me, this
Yeah,
is
there
how
you
you do it. Although that you say it was cheesy, I think that graphic is cool. But you can see that Zach Mitchum is in the
Yeah.
is in the chat. Who's We Are Video Makers, who's also watching on another tube as well.
Yeah.
And that ghostly gentleman on the left who is number one in everyone's hearts is supposed to be Jim Fuse, but he's not being brought in as my in Ecamm. We bring him in and we do that. And so
Doesn't this make you a little nervous because somebody could go like, Jeff C's rockin' hard body, or something like that? I mean, which I get a lot of comments that you guys don't see about that. But, doesn't
don't
that
see
make
them
you
either, by
nervous
the way.
having chat? That's why I don't put chat up. I know there's some other platforms that allow you to do that.
I just said it.
Yeah. Well,
You see
now
it?
we're going to be banned from Amazon.
Now,
so
now he's
thank
gonna. Now
you
he's
so
got
much.
to. He'll just
Oh my
remove the
gosh.
comment.
Yeah. So, but that doesn't worry you at all, because that always would freak me out.
I would
That
say
a
it
comment
doesn't.
from Amazon would be
that
said by someone
that I would
else,
have up on
or-
my
No, but-
screen that would be burned into the broadcast.
We're pretty quick about
Okay.
jumping on that. Like, I'm always watching that. Like, if the second I see somebody starting to do something, we'll call it trolly, boom, blocked, removed. So it doesn't
Gotcha.
last up there very long.
Okay.
But yeah, we've seen. I mean, and that's something that I think is funny for all of you watching on Amazon. You're logged into your Amazon account to chat. So if you are trolling on Amazon, Amazon knows who you are. Just saying.
Yeah. So there you go. Grace, I'm sorry I cut you off. You had a question.
No, I thought. Did you want to move on to the next thing about
Well,
brand deals?
there's a couple of questions because I
Okay.
want to make sure we get
Yeah.
our folks in from We Are Video Makers, who you guys had called out. He's also watching on Amazon. And this is nerdy Amazon speak, so kind of break it down for people. What do you think about focusing on getting to A-list or focusing on shoppable videos, or just put equal effort into both? So, Chris, I'll let you go because you kind of mentioned shoppable videos earlier.
Yeah, Zach, thank you for that question. Zach's a fantastic content creator as well on Amazon. So, We Are Video Makers. Go follow him on Amazon. Does a great show. Also, somewhat in the tech field, but also does some other stuff. But it kind of depends on the content creator. I hate to hedge like that, but for Jim and I, we never really found that. Chasing A-list was really a something that we didn't felt like it helped Dealcasters, and so we made the decision to not. I mean, we did that show for May the 4th where we had giveaways, but we had all the Star Wars stuff and that was given to us to do that, and as well as a microphone from Shure, and so yeah, we got a bunch of followers when we did that show, and that was great. But we don't go live every time and do giveaways and buy gift cards and things like that, just because our show is we use Amazon in a different way. We would like to operate within what Amazon does for sure. And, it's beneficial to us, but it's also not lost on us that, all these rules like gaming and things to gain followers, they change all the time. And so I would much rather focus on our content and what we're delivering for our audience than that. And if we end up getting 2,000 followers, which is the A-list thing, then great. Those 2,000 followers were achieved the right way. And so you didn't, it's not buying it's I wouldn't say it's the equivalent of buying followers like you can on Instagram or whatever.
Right.
But I just want people that come to our show, that follow us, people that truly want to see our show and hear our show. We don't think everybody's going to watch it every time. So I think, to answer your question, Zach, the focus should be both for us. And that way you can, like the shoppable video thing, which I'm happy to, again, talk to if we need to. And there's going to be lots of that talk at VidFest as well, is absolutely something that, as a Amazon influencer, if you're not doing that already, do it. Create 3 videos, get those approved, and start doing that to create some incremental passive income. Thank you. For yourself while you're doing the live stream, because you will find that those components will help you along the way. When you're not doing live streams, your content is still sitting on a product page where someone can watch it and eventually purchase.
Those are great tips, and I wish I would have started earlier as well. So, Grace, take it away.
Yes, I will. So there's a comment in about working with brands, and that goes into our next section of working with using Amazon for 2 things: 1, getting brand deals, and 2, building your brand. So we'll start with the first one. When I started blogging back in the mid 2000s, I remember it took years before people started monetizing their blogs and working directly with brands. And of course, with the rise of social media, this has launched into that pretty much paved the way for our internet influencer culture as we know it today. But again, this took several years, and not anymore. Big influencers, A-listers, if we want to call them that, and internet celebrities, whether you're talking to an audience of 500, 5,000, they're all starting with the brand deals in mind when they get started, especially when it comes to Amazon Live. What is the best way to find these opportunities and most importantly, raise your hand and say, pick me. I'm the one. I'm the influencer, right? And so I'll let you guys take that away, because I think that's a big question when people see people like you guys working with brands. They want a part of that too.
Yeah, so I would say the biggest thing is, 1, be yourself. And one of the things that's happened for Chris and I recently is we're now working with Shure. That happened because, 1, we use the products, and we finally got that introduction, and like, hey, we love what you guys are doing. Same thing. We've had that happen with Samson in the past. So I think part of it is there's, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, because we sometimes get products from other companies, but you want to make sure whatever products you're getting are things that you believe in. Because what's funny is, I guess somehow they get our emails. We get emails literally 2 or 3 times a week, if not more. Yeah, Chris. Yeah, because the way I set it up, and Chris never goes into the email from all these companies. Like, hey, would you? And what's funny is, it's right. It's kind of like, they really haven't done their homework. Hey, we love your videos and stuff on Amazon. Would you be willing to talk about our product? And it's like, it's like a Hello Kitty purse. And I'm sorry, my kids have grown up. I'm
Right.
not going to be doing any Hello Kitty purses or fashion.
Sure.
But I will tell you, our friends Justin Moore and Monty Weaver, who Chris and I have gotten to know over the last year plus, brought up a great point. It goes back to, you should be engaging with those brands that you're interested in organically, right? Don't just be like cold emailing people like, hey, I love your brand, I want to work. They're going to see that,
Right.
right? So it's not an overnight thing. And so put out good content, as Chris likes to say, get better, right? Sharpen the saw. I mean, that's one of the things that I appreciate about the partnership and friendship that Chris and I have, is we're always working to make each other better. It's that whole, we try to get better 1% every time we go live. And so that's how we've built into this brand, and focusing on, like, what are the products that we want to work with, or the companies. So if there's a really cool product that is out there, I'm not going to wait for them to contact me. I'm going to go buy it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to start using it. And then we're going to start doing videos about it. And hopefully we're going to catch their attention. But you will definitely, as an Amazon influencer, say, as opposed to YouTube, you are going to get approached by companies, because they're starting to realize this is a way, because like right now, if Jeff's got one of his products highlighted, this video is playing on that product page, and someone that just happened to be looking at that product's like, oh, what's this video about? Who are these people?
Yeah.
And you don't get that on other platforms. But I think, right, other big boxes, if you want to call that, are taking notice and are now starting their own programs. And that's another reason to get into this now, is because it's kind of like this is your place to practice and get yourself maybe working with other companies. And I'm sure Stephanie's talked about
Yeah,
that.
she talked about like Target's coming out with one, live streaming is talking about one. So once again, make sure that you guys go to eCam.tv/live selling and get on the showrunner schedule, because I think there's 6 more sessions that she's doing. Deep diving in, she's going to introduce you to some of these people. Some of the brands are actually coming on. So eCam.tv/live selling. Make sure you guys go check that out. I highly recommend it. She's done some really cool stuff. She's done things with Jennifer Gardner's brand and helped remote produce that. So she knows what she's talking about. So go check her out at eCam.tv/live selling. To your point about getting I get emails now from going and doing my show over there. It's really funny though, what you said about like, make sure that if you're a brand, do your research. I get like, hey, why don't you promote our razor? And I'm like, have you not seen my show? Because that just doesn't work. So not going to happen. But what I want to talk about, because I want to get free stuff. I tell you, I that's the thing. The whole reason I'll do anything for you. Just give me a free t-shirt. So I love getting free stuff, but I want to talk about, brands and getting brand deals. Do you need an agent? Because I'm hearing a lot of it's like the podcast. It's kind of like following behind the podcasting industry, where the consortiums and the podcast groups and hubs are starting together and getting together. But I'm hearing now Amazon Live are getting agents to represent themselves to brand. Do you have to be a certain level for that? Do you recommend it? Should you do it on your own? What are your thoughts about getting an agent for these brand deals? Chris, I'll let you go.
Well, I think it depends on, like Jim mentioned, our approach has always been very tactical in terms of how we work with brands, because what's most important to us is that when you do watch our show or listen to our podcast or see whatever we're talking about and you go, you know what Chris said about the MV7, that works for me. And you're going to love that mic. And I know you're going to love that mic. And so I have nothing bad to say about it. Now, Jim and I get approached by tons and tons of brands that we've never heard of. And I think for a lot of, especially influencers who haven't, already been talking to brands, it's, it can seem so glorious. Like, look at my porch. It's full of big brown boxes from all of these companies. And you can't even pronounce their names. And it can be, people are enamored by that. And it can kind of make you feel a little bit, you puff up a little bit. But it's dangerous, because all of that, which, requires you to do something with, right? You're going to be, so if you go out, like you go live and you're talking about 25 brands and you're opening this box for the first time, you've never used it and it breaks on the camera, or you talk about how awesome it is and somebody says, oh, this person said it was awesome, and then they bought it and it's hot garbage. You just lost someone that could possibly follow you up a hill. And so we treat it more of a long game. It's not, you can get quick brand deals. Absolutely. I mean, and you can hook up to, more specifically, like to your question, Jeff, you can hook up with agents. You can hook up with all of these companies who work with smaller companies that will cobble together and have a program for you that you're just going to get a regular influx of products that are going to be sent to you. And, you open up your front door and there's a treadmill sitting there ready for you to open up. I don't know what the brand is, and neither did you, but there it is. You're a fitness influencer and here's a treadmill. And so I don't want to use the word control, but I think it's important to treat this as a longer game and figure out what's more important to you. Is Jim and I got in this thing, Grace and Jeff, we did not get into live selling and Amazon to make money. We didn't. And I want to make that clear. That is not what we did. We wanted to be in this thing to sort of work our other businesses. Like, this is a way for us to do a show, have
Right.
fun, and this is what we do. And all of a sudden, we didn't expect that we would be heading up VidFest one day for Amazon at VidFest. We didn't expect, whatever, however much money we make on commission, we didn't expect any of that. And so that's not lost on us. We still look at it as like, this is why we got into it. This is what we're going to continue to do. And so what's more important to us than some jar opener from some off brand that
Right.
somebody sent to me that I'm required to talk about if I'm going to keep it. Like, our brand is more important than that. And so we're going to, like Jim said, use the stuff we already use, maybe buy something. And then all of a sudden, brand is like, you know what? I'm going to talk to these guys because they already use my stuff and they know what they're doing and they have a good show. And they weren't talking about some, jackrabbit mic before we ended up talking about them. They actually know what they're doing.
So real quick, do you guys have a hard stop? Because there's a couple more questions.
No.
And this is good.
I'm good.
And it's, you know what? Why I do this show. You mentioned about why you do the show. I do the show because it's free consulting, is what it is, and they have to stay on and
Awesome.
answer my questions.
Awesome.
But we have. You mentioned, okay, brand deals, and kind of as an Amazon influencer, it's coming in to you and making those deals. But Irene has this great question, kind of the opposite direction. So as an Amazon seller or a brand owner, how can we find the right influencers to promote our products? Which I think is a great question for how can you pair up, maybe not using an agency?
Well, I would say this. One, Chris and I, and we don't get paid for this, are happy to help brands find the right influencers, right? We know a bunch of these folks. In fact, there's a guy named Jeff C. and about 17 others that you might want to talk to that are going to be in Orlando on May 27th. And it's, so feel free to come down and visit. But I think in one aspect, right, there's a Facebook group that Monty Weaver and Melody Johnson and Chris P. Giles started called Amazon. I think it's called now Amazon Live Creators or Amazon Creators. And there's over 1,000 people in that group. Most of them are influencers. So as long as you follow the rules, it's a private group. That's one way to kind of put out there, hey, here's the product we have. This is what we're looking for. But we definitely, think that's a very important part of this is you want to make sure you get the right influencer. I mean, if you're in your business is specifically focused, as an example, on fitness, right? Where our friend Christina Nietzsche does a great fitness show and she's got a huge following. And so I think that's part of it is, don't just think like, oh, I'm just going to go chase these people because they're live all the time. Because I think one of the things too that we've seen, and this kind of goes back to Chris's earlier point, is, we're focused on, I would say we're actually focused on the shoppable videos more than we are focused on A-list. And because that's where we're seeing really those things work, because remember, you can repurpose those shoppable videos on other platforms, right? You could take that native video and maybe upload it to your YouTube channel. So you're giving that brand the potential for more exposure. So, as much as the live streaming is great, like obviously Prime Days coming up in July, Black Friday, that's where brands maybe want to align with some of these sellers if they're going to be having products they want to be seen on Prime Day, because there will literally be, tens of thousands of people watching some of these single episodes. We've had that happen ourselves. And so, so I mean, we're happy, Irene, if you want to connect with me or Chris through LinkedIn or whatever, happy to help you find the right people, because it goes back to Chris and I want to help everybody succeed, because I don't know, we think millions of products. I don't know if there's billions of products on Amazon. But so that's why we don't look at this as competition. There's more than enough to go around. Yeah. And if all the influencers want to do a video on a Rodecaster Pro, well, they rotate it, right? Not everybody is going to get their turn. So it's like there's a lot of other stuff that still needs exposure.
Yeah,
and as you pointed out, like you're not gonna hit, like you're not gonna get the Hello Kitty purse review, right? So there's opening for the Hello kitty purse people, right? So
Right.
Yep.
Right.
there's something for everyone.
So
Yeah.
I do want to ask. So Zach is popping back and forth from YouTube to Amazon Live, and he goes, "Any tips for getting these brands to pay you? I'm getting a lot of brands I want to work with give me free products and allowing me to do giveaways, but not paying me to make content on or off Amazon." And he has an audience of over 40,000 people off of Amazon. So, what would you, Chris? What would you tell him to maybe entice these brands? I guess.
Yeah, Zach, great question. And I am by no means a brand expert. I can speak from my expertise, but I would absolutely go and follow Justin Moore, Creator Wizard, on YouTube. He has videos that are specifically about this that you can just watch. Fantastic content creator. We had him on Dealcasters, and if you wanted to catch that episode, it's justin.dealcasters.live. But I would say this: again, I don't love to hedge here, but depending, if you've got a huge following elsewhere and on Amazon you're still building it, but they're approaching you for something on Amazon, and why wouldn't they? You're on this huge platform. I believe that it's not about the scarcity mindset where there's a lot of content creators that say, "Hey, stop doing all these videos for free." You're watering down the whole creator economy. That's not the way to look at it. I believe everyone has their own choice, and if you're making good content and someone is approaching you and you have a value attributed to that content that someone else is willing to pay for, or that you have given a price for, then you should ask for that. And if you don't get it, then move on. I mean, Jim and I, consider, and I'm not saying get paid for every single little thing that you do, right? I just got a huge a refrigerator. I'm not even kidding, Jim. It arrived today, by the way. He emailed me earlier. He says your refrigerator's coming. I'm not kidding. I got a refrigerator. Now, did I ask that company to pay me for it? No, I did not. So creator economy, if you're mad at me, too bad, free fridge. So
There you go. I just want a PlayStation 5. Somebody can send me that if they want. I talk all about that. So by the way, both Randall and Zach over on Amazon Live said, love that episode that you guys did with Justin. Zach says, love Justin, want to take his course, and love that episode. So, by the way, if you guys want to go, and you got to follow these guys. If you have any interested in any sort of live selling, one, do what we talked about with Showrunner 2 with Stephanie Liu, but follow Dealcasters Live. They have amazing guests on. They are what I've modeled myself for. They've helped me get on Amazon Live and constantly encouraging me. So make sure you guys go follow them at dealcasters.live. And
if you follow, we'll spin the wheel.
Yes,
and we'll spin the wheel right now.
Yeah.
No, I don't. We're not set up to do that.
Free stuff. But real quick, I want you guys, thank you so much for staying late. This is fascinating to me, and I think if you're a creator or there's so much opportunity at Amazon for Amazon and Amazon influencers and live selling in general. Like, if you don't know, over in Asia, they're killing it. There's celebrities over there that all they do is sell stuff, and brands are noticing here what's going on over there, and they're like, okay, it's coming. And if you start this now and build your reputation, you don't have to have a huge following, but if you can show that you're good on camera, there's brand deals coming. There's opportunities that are coming down the pike. Even Roku, I think, and some other platforms are saying, even Netflix, we're going to start selling on our platforms. And so it's coming. It's coming. It's going to be here. So get ready for the ride. But one of the ways you can get ready for this tsunami of live selling that's coming is Amazon Day at VidFest, coming up at the end of this month at Orlando. I'm so excited. So, guys, tell us about that. Jim, I'll let you go first, and then Chris, you can wrap it up.
Yeah, well, so Chris Krimitsos, we want to thank him for giving us the opportunity to have this full day on Amazon and the influencer program. We're going to be talking about everything from how to get about brand deals. We're going to talk about how to up live shows, different types of creators, how they've kind of niched Jeff's going to be there talking in a couple of sessions as well. I mean, it's going to be really exciting. So pretty much anything you would need to know if you're already a creator or thinking about it, we're going to cover it. And if you don't catch it live, right, we can do meetups. I mean, we're going to be there for 4 days, but Chris might be at Disney, so you might have to hunt him down. but it's going to be a great opportunity. I think I've already seen there's at least 1,200 people that are in the Whova app. So, I'm sure as people start figuring out, it's not too late to get tickets, and, it's Orlando, right? It's the Magic Kingdom, right, and all that good stuff.
Right.
So I'm excited about it. And, like you said earlier, Jeff, as far as we know, this is the first time that you've had a full day of creators, talking about the Amazon program. So really excited, and can't thank you enough for being willing to be a part of it as well. Because it's funny for me, we met on Google Plus, but sometimes I have to pinch myself because I remember being in the audience at Social Media Marketing World 2018, not only watching you introduce Rebecca Radice, but also watching you talking about Pinterest. And so now to actually be sharing the stage with you is quite the honor.
Well, shucks. So Chris,
Aww.
what are you excited about Amazon? I mean, you're going to go, I know you're going to hang out with Mickey and friends, but what are you most, I mean, I know you guys, this is a lot of work, and I appreciate you guys putting it together, and I know you guys are going to reap the benefits of this, and you guys are kind of the influencers in this whole space. So talk about what you're looking forward to at Orlando.
Yeah. So this is sort of like the culmination of what Jim and I were working on when we're on that phone call, and we're like, how can we help people? We had no idea that it would end up like, after having Chris Krimitsos on Dealcasters, he said, guys, this is massive, because he saw what was happening, and like you were talking about, Jeff, and what's happening in Asia. And, he was like, he tapped us to say, listen, I want you guys to, be sort of the voice, if you will, of Amazon Influencer Program and Amazon Live. And of course, that was in the midst of the pandemic. And so a lot of it was virtual. But we knew at some point that when everything was coming and opening up, that we would have something going on at PodFest and VidFest when that was. And so that's where we're at. And I'm just super excited because we have a lot of, we could have put this together and said, here are our 5 speakers over the course of the day. But, I'm so happy that we got so many people on board, and it's not a situation where you have, these are 5 super solid speakers. We basically have the best people that can talk about something in particular as it relates to Amazon. So if you want to create an engaging live show, we mentioned Denise Lipka, who does, Artist at Heart, who paints and has a painting class for kids. And so we've got Geraldine Wilkins, who does quilting. We also have people who do these incredible live shows. We also have people like yourself, Jeff, who can sort of teach you how you can repurpose your content from Amazon Live, how people can think a different way, some of the stuff we touched on today about Amazon, and how you can bolt on your existing business or existing brand to what you're doing. And it's just really an all-day sort of jam-packed thing that, I'm not sleeping a lot. But at the same time, I'm super excited that, we get to, and I mentioned this earlier, networking is a huge component of live streaming and podcasting. And so these are some people that we've met over the course of the past couple of years that we actually get to meet in person, break bread with, and really sort of sharpen the irons live. And we're just sort of super excited about it. And if you want to get 20% off Social Media News Live, see, I'm live selling here, Jeff.
There you go.
Go to vidfest.dealcasters.live. And that'll take you to vidfestexpo.com/Amazon. Same thing. So if you go to vidfest.dealcasters.live, your tickets are there. And if you use the code Amazon, you get 20% off. And we're stoked and would love to see you there.
Is there a virtual option for people who can't drive?
I was going to ask that.
Sorry.
Yes.
There is.
Yes, there is.
How dare you, Jeff?
I know. I do it all the time. Grace, And so I'll
Jeff, I don't. This is why I didn't show up for 2 weeks. Jeff never lets me talk on the show.
she
No, I
talks
just
enough
protest.
offline, folks. I'll tell you that.
Oh my gosh.
So Grace, I'll let you have the final word. Thank you guys for staying along with us today, but this was just too good to
Loved
pass
it.
up. Grace,
That's
where
fun.
can people find out about the amazing Grace Duffy?
Well, if Jeff ever lets me talk, I'll be here every week with Jeff.
Right. That's right. All right, and I want to say a big shout out to all of our friends who are watching. Gary Stockton, amazing guy. Thank you, Gary. Content Creator Tools says he's going to watch this from the beginning. Randall over on Amazon Live says opportunities are out there even for old people. I feel you, Randall. I'm excited for the opportunities as well. He does great stuff on Amazon and LinkedIn. Brian is there as well. Thank you guys so much. Our next show is Friday, May 20th at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. We'll be talking with Mitch Dong all about Volley. If you haven't noticed about Volley, we've been going over there every week. Let me find my thing here. Yeah, socialmedianewslive.com/chat. You can talk with us over there. It's really, really cool to keep this conversation going. Megan Powers, you need to be over there as well. So go to socialmedianewslive.com/chat. Continue the conversation. We have a lot of fun there. But as thank you for our sponsors, Ecamm. They do amazing stuff. We could not do this show without them. Go to socialmedianewslive.com/Ecamm. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
PowerPoint or keynote presentation. So you don't need a videographer, a producer, or an editor to level up your Zoom meetings. You just need Ecamm Live.